right, everybody. Hello and welcome into this storyteller product showcase where I'm Sky Moore from the Tagboard side, and we're going to be covering all things Threads, a social platform that has skyrocketed on launch. It is steadily growing with 400 million monthly active users. And with that kind of volume, it's a rich source of real-time content that can be used to elevate your productions and grow your community through meaningful engagement. We're talking breaking news coverage, community Q&As. There are so many possibilities and real world use cases, and we're going to highlight all of that today. We got to pass over all into this 30 minutes here. We're going to give real world use cases with the Thread team and practice and strategies that they've seen work well and some success stories. We've got the LIV Golf team coming on here right off the bat, and we're going to get to them in just a minute. We're also going to give you some product demos on the Tagboard side to show you how you get this content onto your productions. But first, let's just go over a few examples we've already seen out there in the wild of Threads on different broadcasts in different environments. The UFC doing a really good job of this as they are integrating it into their main cards. We've got ESPN is breaking news on Threads. Aja Wilson here updating people on an injury. We have TNT on their Inside the NBA broadcast. The Threads community is roasting Chuck and Shaq and Kenny and the crew on that. Really impactful. And then, as I mentioned off the bat, the LIV Golf team has been doing an awesome job of integrating Threads both in venue and then on broadcast as well, giving the behind the scenes look at a situation here with Ian Poulter, with a former world champion in darts, and it just gives a nice insight into what's going on behind the scenes. They've also showcase just the breadth of the community that's talking out there and the number of people that are engaging as Phil does what he does best, chipping in from a greenside bunker. And they go into the live broadcast reaction with waterfall style moments. As you'll see here, they've got the Instagram on there, they've got Threads on there, just a full slate of content and really good stuff there from the LIV team. And so without further ado, I want to bring the LIV team on. Jake, how we doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for jumping on. And Anthony is actually joining us via phone. He is greenside out at Bethpage for the Ryder Cup. Jake, you didn't even know this, but Anthony's out covering, grabbing content for the Ryder Cup and following Bryson on his journey today in a little practice round. So, Anthony, how we doing out there?
Doing good, guys. Thank you so much for having me. As you said, I'm out here at the Ryder Cup, super excited during this practice round. And as you know, social never sleeps, right? So we're out here grabbing some great content and excited to be part of this event.
Anthony, we want to get you back to what you're doing and capturing content. So we'll start with you on this side of just from the social side, building that community on the Threads platform. What's like unique to your strategy on that front? How are you approaching on Threads? What's the voice of Live on Threads? Can you give us some background there?
Yeah, Threads and as we try to do across, all meta properties, just really make it about the fans and make it as organic and engaging as possible. Amazing tournaments, everyone who loves golf, just trying to find unique ways to start conversations and just really showcase our players, their personalities, and then the amazing experience at LIV Golf. We cover everything from music, fashion, lifestyle, you name it, right? So when you're coming to LIV, you're getting that full experience, and we try to bring that to life on Threads and get our fans, engaged, ask them questions, give them behind the scenes coverage, and just let them really be part of the full experience, across social.
What are some of those things that you're posting? I'll bring some up on my screen here, but
Yeah.
we've got I like kind of the behind the scenes stuff you show with like the T markers and kind of that unique content. What's kind of some of the content that you've seen do well here?
Yeah, I mean, as you can imagine, people love to see the big drives and, the awesome moments. But, aside from that, anytime we can be, super relatable as, golfers who are following us, right, and can relate to, those little things, like, what would you shoot on this par five, 600-yard hole, or, what's your favorite putter that you use, to not two putt or three putt, right? So, we try to find that balance of highlights and also super relatable content for golfers, but then also, golf adjacent people, right? Just try to tie in golf and really make it, a cultural experience. We've seen that content, do really well. And then, alongside that, when we're showcasing the personalities of our players and, really just, showing that, hey, like, yes, they're phenomenal world-class golfers, but they're just like you and I, right? They love to go fishing. They love to go horseback riding. They love to travel. There's so many things that they're into. They love cars like Ian Poulter, right? So we just try to bring all that together and make it truly an experience for our audiences on social and on Threads, and just let them be part of the fun.
One thing I also love, and talking about, we're going to get into how you can work in unison. Jake's team on the broadcast side is constantly looking for content, probably to fill segments and trying to better engage. And then
Yeah.
Anthony on your side, growing that community on Threads. What's that partnership like between you? And Anthony, we'll let you go first, and then you can hand it off to Jake, and we'll let you dip out of here.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun working with the broadcast team, right? Coming up with segments or, social opportunities that can really be part of the viewing experience and get people involved who are watching from home or wherever they are around the world on the Live Golf app, and just creating those moments on social, right? And it's either, rate your swing, which we have a lot of fun with. We also bring that to our post show with Pat Perez and Christian Crosby and team. And then other just, what's happening during the broadcast, right? And what's your best moments or your favorite moments of the round so far. Just finding all those kind of really unique and engaging ways to work together as the social and broadcast team to keep people tuning in and to get people sharing content on social.
Absolutely. And Jake, from your perspective, how do you see it in the producer chair of your how you and Anthony can work best together on that front?
Yeah, I think the rate your swing, we call it the form check on the post show, is a great example of that, where we get social to sort of, put out to the viewing population that we'd like to rate their swings or roast them a lot of times on air. And then broadcast comes and scoops them up and puts them on air. But also, as Anthony and team are out covering the action, people are engaging with that uh, social coverage, and then we on the broadcast are taking reactions, putting them on air, and creating moments between our talent team and the people watching the show at home. So it's a kind of like creates a nice cycle, and gives a little bit of positive feedback to the people watching and engaging online. So I like to think it's kind of a positive feedback loop that generates more excitement, and it's both of our teams working together to achieve that.
Totally. One thing I really saw and loved as well of sometimes Anthony and his team can kind of be an extra camera for your team on the golf course. And I thought this was a good example of that at Valderrama, where they're showing, just giving perspective to the viewer of how difficult this course actually is. You can end up on the green, but you're all the way back in the fairway on 10. Is that another area that you view as almost seeing Anthony's team as an extra camera?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think, we have as many cameras as we possibly can, but it's nice that everyone out on the course, including fans, but definitely our social team, everyone has a camera in their pocket, and it does allow us to do more specific storytelling and see angles of either action or, like you just showed, the golf course that you might not see from a traditional broadcast camera. And you get a little bit of editorial mixed into it as well with text ads or replies, and so it does definitely work to enhance the storytelling.
How does take us through your process of how like these segments come to life and come together? Is there it sounds like the rate your swings maybe a little more pre-planned of a moment in the production versus how often is it just, oh, you got pitched something really cool that we want to get that on air right now?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's very often the latter. It's when I'm producing a show, we will have our tagboard producer uh scouring all of our league channels, but also, certainly all of the fan chat about the round or about topics that we're covering. So it's hugely in the moment. It's very much we're listening to we're following the flow of the coverage. We're finding social that helps illustrate the things that we're trying to say or bring up topics that we want to bring up. And our tag board producer is selling these social moments to, and when I'm producing me in that case, and then we are choosing whether to put them on air. And then when we do, it's something for our talent to talk about, and it takes us either in a new direction or helps to prove a point that's being being spoken about on air, or it's creating an exciting moment after we watch a highlight or showing how fans reacted to said highlight. So, yeah, we're definitely sort of riding the wave, as I like to say.
Yeah, and so like in your mindset, if you're saying yes or no, because I'm sure you get pitched on a bunch of different content throughout the course of the show. What's your, I guess, do you just kind of know when you see it, or like certain content that you think like you often approve more or anything like that?
Yeah, I just like to get, I mean, I think it creates a nice, a positive feedback loop with the fans watching at home. I like to get it in as much as possible. So if there's time and it helps to, add some production value and show that we're keeping an eye on social, relating to the topics we're discussing, I like to say yes as much as I can.
Nice. And then I guess let's just close with this. Um, how important is speed in all of this, of just like the ability to get it on air quick, the ability to just be nimble in these live environments when you're not pre-producing like the segment?
I think it's incredibly important. I think that's one of the coolest parts about the software. And I think we all live in 2025 and see that content is lightning fast and people care about seeing things that are happening now. Um, and, I think people are also engaging with their second or third screens while they're watching coverage. So often if you don't put something on air that's relevant, fans are seeing it on their own. And
Hmm.
I think to include that in the broadcast as quickly as you're able to using Tagboard is a huge asset, and it is really important for the social storytelling.
Awesome. Hey, Jake, I appreciate it. Anthony was great. You were great. You guys do great content. Excited to watch Bryson and Rom and Hatton out there at the Ryder Cup this weekend and your guys' content next season. So appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Nice to be here.
Absolutely. All right, we'll move you back into the attendee side and keep this show on the road. Now we want to get into how do you do it. So you've heard from the Live team on the types of content that they're posting, the relationship between the social team and the broadcast team, and how important it is for those to work in unison. Jake was talking about the speed of it, so let's show you the speed of getting this onto a production. So there's a couple ways you can do it with Tagboard. There's one way that a lot of people know, and a lot of those examples that you saw, people have been using it, and that's using our Tagboard Curate, which is a one-click workflow to get content onto your production. And so as I screen share here, I'm on the Threads platform. Breaking news content maybe just popped with Jeff Passan, and I am just going to one click to feature a piece of content. And then I jump into the Tagboard ecosystem here in Tagboard Producer. There's that post I just featured. I bring it onto my playlist and I send it live within a matter of seconds. And that's the speed that's required in these situations. You got to be fast, you got to be relevant, you got to get it on air before your competition. If it, in the news market, when everyone's sourcing that content from breaking news and maybe a reporter just got there ahead of somebody else, and the ability to get that on before you can create a graphic is so huge from that standpoint. So that's the Tagboard Curate. One click, feature it right into Tagboard Producer, and you're off and running. The other area I wanted to highlight though is Threads feeds, which we actually just released yesterday, and very excited about this. The ability to connect your account, your Threads account to Tagboard, and we're going to auto feature and or auto curate that content from your account into Tagboard in real time. And so just to give you an idea, I have my account all connected. I've been filling my account with some images of my new dog Tater and checking out the neighbor's yard. and I post that onto the Threads platform, and there it goes in. And now when I jump back into Tagboard, I have my feed already set up. There it shows a new feed comes through, and there's that post that I just had on Threads, and similar workflow as before. There it is within my Tagboard producer ecosystem, and I can bring it, drag it into the style of graphic that I want and have it on my broadcast in a matter of seconds as well. So we're talking seconds on everything we're doing here. And I have my board set up to auto feature because I can trust the content that's coming from my account. I know that it's going to be valuable and clean and everything good. And so it's going to auto feature when it posts everything. And I'm still going to control when it goes onto the broadcast, but I know I want to always feature that content that's coming in, so I have it at the ready when I'm inside of my productions. The other thing to note here is it's great for digital experience, web embeds as well, especially if you've been utilizing Tagboard in the past with X feeds to build those digital web experiences. And we deprecated X feeds, but Threads feeds are an awesome source to maintain those digital web experiences, have all your content in a full cross-channel approach where it's on your live streams, it's on your broadcast, it's in venue, and it's on your mobile app or web experiences are all critically important. So just wanted to highlight how you get it onto the broadcast there really quickly. And now let's keep this show moving. And I'm going to bring on the Threads team, and we're going to bring on Raj and Will, both from the Threads squad. Raj, let's get right into it. We're going to go best practices with Threads, and I want to kick it off with just hearing more about the how often should I be posting on Threads, and what kinds of content do you see work best on the platform?
Yeah, now that's a great question, right? And I think there are two parts to that question regarding how often you should be posting it, right? So really, frequency matters over here. So we have seen this with other social media apps as well. The higher you post, the regularly you post, it will lead to higher impressions on your post. And we have been working on improving the recency of the post as well, so that you get more timely and relevant content in your feed. And for anyone who has spent time on Threads in the past year, you would have seen the improvement in the recency, so that if you are posting once a day, there's a significant higher chance of you being discovered on the Threads. And we have seen this with different examples as well. For example, a thread creator, April Kai, she is a musical artist and she has been really text heavy on Threads, and she posts several times a day on Threads, and I think the strategy has been working really well for her. On the other hand, a brand like Beyond Meat, who has been posting once a day on Threads, and the strategy that they apply is to engage heavily with the community. And I think that brings us to your second question as to what type of content we want to post on Thread. I think over here, the fresh perspective matters. So the more original and opinionated your content is, the higher it will involve the engagement from your audience. And what we have seen is the posts that drive more conversations are more likely to be recommended. So you want to post things that will drive engagement from your audience. And some of the examples of it is actress Kat Dennings, who use really low stake relatable content to post on Threads, and that drives engagement from her audience. And she also in turn takes part in that engagement and builds the community over there, and then sprinkles in her promotional content here and there. And that strategy has been working really great for her. On the other hand, brand like Calm, they have completely set up a different tone on Threads. So they use humor to share their content on Threads. And through that humor, their audience are able to connect with them, engage with them, and build that community. So yeah, the brand like Calm, they have been spreading calmness in a different manner on Threads. So really, I think the best practices over here would be to post often, to make sure that you're sharing fresh perspectives, and then to engage the community on Threads.
I love it. Often, fresh, and engaging. Three great things there. Where are you seeing maybe people that have implemented this strategy and having success with it, whether they're creators, brands, or whatnot?
Yeah, no, we have been seeing some of the great uh, success stories, but I think there are some that are worth highlighting. For example, what Hulu did before they launched the season 4 of the series Only Murders in the Building. So they really took a threads first approach to reach out to the existing fans and new fans and build the community over there. And you mixed it up with different strategies over there, right? So they mixed it up with asking Q&As, having a live session discussions over there, and also creating polls over there so that their fans could geek out on the existing fans could geek out on the show, whereas the new fans could discover the series, and that really helped them gain increase in views season over season. But not only that, they also saw the increase in replies on threads season over season. So that's one of the great example as how building an engagement really helped them gain more fan following for the series. The other example that we have really resonates the fact that replies score big on threads, right? And we have seen that replies account to almost half of the views on threads. And one of the great example is the creator Adriana Ibron, who created Black Girls Love Football because she wanted to create a safe space for women who can geek out on American football. And I think the strategies that she applied over here were absolutely key in her account growth of about 71%. So what she did was she engaged in with her community on threads through replies and really talked to the community of women who love cheering for their teams, discussing the highs and lows during the game, and also analyzing the game together. And she did this through replies and creating polls and things as such. And you can see that she grew her followers on her account in a single season from 14 to about 9.5, which was great for a single season. And lastly, I think what's one of the other example that is really relevant for uh, the audience today over here is our partnership that we did this last May with TNT Sports during the Eastern Conference Finals. So we curated a list of NBA creators who we knew that would be talking about the games in real time and shared this list with TNT for easy discoverability and the curation. And in turn, TNT also prompted the conversations by using threads polling tools and sharing those results in real time. And as a result of this, one of the biggest community on threads, NBA threads, took their attention to TNT broadcast during multiple nights of Eastern Conference Finals. So that really shows how a partnership between broadcast and creators could help shape a community through threads.
I love it. That's epic. And as we get people out of here in a little bit, we're gonna also, I know you guys have a ton of stuff. We're gonna share some great use cases and best practices in the follow-up recording email that goes out tomorrow as well. So we wanted to keep it quick, keep it tight, but that was awesome stuff. I appreciate it, Raj.
Thanks, Guy.
So some examples to leave you on that I think are really cool and really exciting, of different ways that you can implement threads, get engaging, keep it real time. One of them is actually going to be a live example here off the top, and that's this idea of whether it be a Q&A, whether it be an AMA and Ask Me Anything, or an Ask the Analyst type segment. These are really easy wins, I would say, when it comes to ways you can engage people on threads in like a really impactful way. And so, Liv, what gift would you give Bryson for his birthday? And you post that out there, people start to reply, your audience starts to reply, and you can bring them into the broadcast. Doesn't have to be full screen every time. Could be a tombstone activation here in American flag, so he has it for when they win the Ryder Cup. Very relevant going into this weekend. We know Bryson loves internet challenges and using ping pong balls to try and make them into impossible openings. And so this person is going to offer him a different style of ping pong ball and then a Ryder Cup deciding point there. So it just one of those ways helps you grow that community on the Threads platform, gives you content that allows you to showcase to your audience, hey, we're listening, we're watching, we want you to be part of the program. So that I think the Q&A, the AMA, Ask the Analyst are all good ones. Another one that I wanted to highlight here is what I call the GIF train. And so Netflix posted a GIF on Threads of a big time punch in the Alvarez Crawford fight, and the audience started reacting with GIFs of like their reaction to that moment. And here you see it in the sidebar. Creates a really fun, engaging, easy engagement strategy, and brings a little light heartedness to the broadcast as well as everyone is reacting with those GIFs. And so that was another one I wanted to highlight. Also, you have the QR code on there. And so the ability, hey, you want to get involved in the conversation, scan the QR code on the broadcast, go and engage on the Threads community. Maybe you'll end up on the broadcast at a later time. And the last one I want to close on with is the idea of like a prediction panel or a prediction style post where you give your audience a chance to armchair quarterback or flex their knowledge or whatever it may be. A sports example could be in the entertainment side as well of, what do we think is going to be the main fashion choice on the red carpet this evening? And, maybe red, whatever it is. But on this one, who's going to score the first goal tonight? Maybe everyone's posting, all of a sudden Kale McCurr scores, and now you can bring on a post of somebody that correctly predicted that outcome and give them their flowers, put them front and center on the broadcast. And now other people are like, hey, I want to look smart, look like I know what I'm talking about, get on the broadcast. And it really creates and drives that engagement in a really meaningful and impactful way. And the Avs did another good example too of say something nice about a certain player, which you could put on a video board and show it during an interview of, hey, look what the fans are saying about you. And it creates a really cool moment for engagement and a really cool moment on the broadcast or in person as well. So just a few examples there as we close you out and try and hit the buzzer here at 9:30 Pacific, noon 30 Eastern.